Hi there, it's B. Today we are going to continue with the coffee shop simulator. We are going to end up in Unreal 5. This is not, you don't have to, you don't want to, but I'm going to show you how to compare the project. And the other thing we are going to do is to manage the shop when the shop is open and closed, and the customers will go in and will go out. So we have our coffee shop, we have the player, and the doors are closed, so no customers can enter. But these guys here are there, don't mind them. So this is a door, a very basic door I prepare. So if I get close and I press the A button, the doors will open and we will see these customers going inside. That's the first one, which goes straight to the counter. It will ask me for that. And then we have two more. And we have another one there, another one there. So it's they go to like a waiting area, random location. And now if we don't want to serve them again, we can just go here, close the door. Okay, yeah, they will start going outside. The last one will be that one, and well, the door will be closed and customers can go inside. There is no collision. This door is very basic. You can place a nice door with, you can add animations and all of that. The first thing we're going to do is to convert the started version of this chapter to Unreal 5. This process is exactly the same for any projects you want to upgrade. You don't have to change this to Unreal 5, but well. So you can download this from the itch.io page. It's available in the description below. So just going to do this quickly. So the version of this is Unreal 4.27, and okay, so whenever you download a project, there is no code. So the first thing to do, we need to go here. First thing is switch Unreal Engine version. Select the new version, and it will generate the visual files. Then it will create the SLN solution, which is the Visual Studio, and a few other. We will have everything as we had before. I have done this process several times with other projects and I never had an issue. The only issue you might have is if you have a project open in Unreal 5, it won't let you. So when you do this, it's better to close any other projects that do this at least the first time. So this is gonna take a bit. This has been completed. Everything seems to be fine except one thing. So this is from previous project with all these customers. One thing I've noticed with all the projects is the navmess. The navmess doesn't work, so you need to rebuild it again. For some reason it just doesn't work, so the best thing to do is just to remove the one that is on the project and create it again. So we can go to nav volume, this one, place this, and I think now, well, we need to modify the size to cover everything. So we see all the areas covered, so the customers can go in and out. It should work now. Yeah, now it didn't work before, so this is from the previous chapters. It seems to work fine, so yeah, you have need to just remove the old navmess and create a new navmess volume. To manage the coffee shop manager, we're going to have an actor called shop manager. Previously, in the previous chapter, we have on the main game mode, we have this component to handle some of the things related to the customers. I decided to move this to an actor because when you have components are great when you want to separate the functionality, but if you need reference on the map, they are a bit harder to get the references. It's not as comfortable. Really, it's a matter of what you prefer to do. So we're gonna remove this component and move some of the functionality we have here on that class. So let's do that. Let's go to C++ classes and then let's create a shop manager. This is gonna be an actor. Unreal 5 takes way less time to compile, so it's very quick. The shop manager is going to have a few UProperties. It will have a reference to the player. It will have a current customer that is at the counter. It will have a customer list with a list of customers that we're going to send to the counter and a waiting area. And it will also have check if current order is completed, which will bring from the component shop manager component. The shop manager will the game model will have reference to the shop manager, and I will show you how I normally do these things. So let's create those objects. The shop manager will also have a reference to the door, which will be an interactive. We will create this later. So first let's create those 3 UProperties. The player, the current customer at counter, and the customer pool list. I also like to remove everything I don't need. We can remove the tick. It's probably we're not gonna use the tick. And that's it. We can come here as well and remove all of this. I like to do this every time because I don't like these comments. Okay, so the other thing we need is the functionality. Let's check if current order is completed. We can place here. We need to create this implementation. Okay. We can implement this here. So let's go to the CoffeeShopManager, and here is the component. So we can just remove this, or you can comment this out. It will probably break stuff when you compile, but it's okay. It's easy to fix. Let's just remove this. So we can come here and remove this as well. Okay, we can remove this. So we eliminate this. Next thing we're going to do is to have a reference to the shop manager here. So it will be a public reference, that, and we're going to have a register method, which we can call from the shop manager. So yeah. This is going to be a blueprint callable, and it's going to register a shop manager with a reference to it. I like to convert this type of methods to blueprint callable because maybe I will need this in the blueprint. If not, you can just discard all of this and just make a public normal function. We need to register to implement this, so let's go here. We need this as well, and we need the we need the include to shop manager, and the reference is simply that. So now we can go to shop manager, and we can do that in the begin play. So we're gonna do 2 things in the begin play: call to the reference, register reference, and also save the reference to the player. We can get the player reference with the player controller, and we can use EU gameplay statics to get the player controller that is in the wall on this index. Then get the pawn, and then cast that, and we will save this reference, which is this one. And to register this shop manager, this will happen as soon as we press play if we have this blueprint object on the map. So we just need to get the reference to the game mode. We can do it with get wall that and cast into a coffee shop sim mode. And we just need to call the register shop manager with this, which is the reference. We need to add a few includes here, which is the gameplay statics. Let's include as well reference to the coffee shop sim character, so it doesn't complain around here. The game mode and NPC customer, because we're gonna use it soon. Okay, now we can implement this. So this is basically a copy of what we have in the shop manager component. So you can just copy all of this, come here to the shop manager, paste, and we probably need to update a few things. The logic hasn't changed, it does the same. It's just check the current customer and check the order to see if it's completed. Remember, we call this from the behavior tree. When the customer is on the counter and the player drops some items, so it will check this if the current order is completed through each item, and the customer has a reference to the current order, so that's how we know. He's complaining about this because I call this current customer at counter. So we can just change all the reference so it doesn't complain. And that should be it. Here's another one. So with this, we are ready to compile and create a blueprint based on this. If you press play now, it will tell you that these elements don't compile because we just removed the coffee shop manager component, so they are very easy to fix. So we can go here, and yeah, it's complaining about this. This is the BT task order to shop. We will probably remove this later on, but it's as easy as, okay, we can get the reference to the shop manager and reconnect this here. There, no. Yeah, okay, so the shop manager doesn't have this either because we're gonna do this different, so we can just remove this. And well, we don't need this actually. Okay, well, we will skip that for now. And the other one is drop interactive. I believe this is the same, so yeah, it's expecting this from this, so we need to use the new reference. Shop manager, get shop manager, and then check if current order is completed. We can get the same that and that. It's just our replace, nothing difficult. So yeah, we have exactly the same, and instead of a component we have an object. And now it compiles, but obviously things are broken. So what we're going to do now is go to C++ and create a blueprint based on that, on this VB shop manager. Let's create that inside blueprints, VB shop manager. There is nothing inside. We're not gonna need anything. We can also remove this tick, so we can save that. That's if you don't need a tick, this is a good tip for performance. No tick, doesn't tick, so that's good. Okay, and then we can place this here, anywhere really, it doesn't matter. And I believe we have a few references that we can set right now. Okay, there should be a section somewhere which is current poll list. We're gonna grab these references here. 2, 3, yeah. So one important thing, this object needs to be on the same map as these guys right there. Otherwise you won't be able to keep the reference. No, it doesn't let you, because you need to have everything on the same map. So I believe I'm using this game logic, so we can just move. So the BP ShopManager will be on the same as the other ones. And now we can just grab this customer, we can grab that, and grab that, and we can grab the last one. Yep. Okay, so we have all of them. And now we can move on to prepare a door to open and close. The door, I decided to go for a simple version, which is just a mesh box, and that's it. You can find a nicer door and do some animations and all of that, but I'm interested on the functionality, so that's fine. So we're going to get that door. That door is going to be an interactive, so we can take advantage of the interactable interface and the basic interactive I created for this project. So let's create a new C++ class, and it's going to be basic interactive, which is here. Then door interactive. Okay, and it has compiled very quickly. So it extends from basic interactive, which it has a trigger and some basic properties, which is handy. Then from implement the interactable interface, we need the include to the interface, and what we are going to have here is a property to check if the door is open or closed, and 2 event delegates to detect when the door is open or closed. And we are not going to do any much on the add the property. Okay, we can add 2 delegates, multicast delegates, when the door is open and when the door is closed. And we need the blueprint assignable and callable functions, UProperty, because we're going to use this from another blueprint, which is going to be the shop manager. So the shop manager basically links everything, the player, the customers, and anything you want. It's basically the manager to handle everything on the shop. On the shop manager, we're going to have a reference to this object, so let's do that before we head to compile again. So we need to go to the shop manager and place a UProperty, which is going to be public, so we can do the reference from the map. Okay, and now this is complete. We don't need anything else. No. Okay, we're gonna use this ones on blueprint, and the rest basically is going to be on blueprint. Okay, we have the door interactive class prepared, so let's create a blueprint. Same process. We can do it under blueprint and then BP, and that's it. So this door just gonna do something very quick, which is going to be just a mesh component and rearrange this trigger and all of that, so you can do whatever you want with the door. I recommend to not add collision to any mesh, otherwise it will messed up the navigation, so it will block that path. There are ways to fix that, but that will be for another tutorial. So just for now, don't add any collision there. This is my nice door. It's just very simple. It has the trigger, it has this left and right mesh. They don't have collision, as I said. Because they don't have collision, they don't affect the nav mesh. If you have collision on those, it will cut this. So NPCs can go inside and outside. This is something that is fixable. You can, I think there are some things you can do, like there are special options that could be for another video. So for now, you can just remove the collision and no problems there. Or maybe place a collision which doesn't touch the floor, maybe, so it doesn't allow the player to transpass the door. Up to you. Okay, so the shop manager, as you can remember, we just created this door interactive reference, so we can use that. So the door reference is there. Now we can do a few things with the door. So let's open the door interactive. Okay, we have it here. So we can subscribe to on begin overlap and on end overlap, because we're going to do these operations from here. Okay, let's remove all of this. And let's grab as well on component end overlap. With this, we used to do this on C++, but we can also do it on Blueprints. So in this class, what I've done is have the minimum data on C++ and most of the things on Blueprints. Is quite comfortable to work like this. So we are only interested if the player is in and not any other customer or actor. So we can cast this to CoffeeShopManager character, and if this is true, we need to call on enter interactive. And if you remember, this used to be in C++, so the player has a reference to this, and we can use the interactive, the onInteract method. If we don't do this, it won't work. So we can have a reference to self, okay, and we can place here door or whatever you want. Okay, and same with this, cast to CoffeeShop character, and then we need to call on leave interactive, so it will release the interactive, because remember we have other interactives on the scene, so it will grab this reference, and now we can call on event on interact, which is part of the interface. You can see it as part of the interactable interface, and the player already controls all of this, so we don't have to worry about anything else. Okay, so we can do if the interactive is locked, we can't use it. So we can only use it if it's false. And now if the door is open or closed, we will do different actions. So we can grab the property is open, we created before. Let's do a branch. By default it will be closed, so this will be false. And now if it's false, which means if it's closed, we can do a few things. Sequence. Okay, let's block the interactive. So we cannot use it. for a bit, so we cannot press the interact and go crazy. And then, well, we can just hide the visibility of this. So in this case, you will run an animation or something nicer. And now we can just, well, this is up to you really, but we can wait a bit. Imagine this is an animation, so let's wait for the animation to happen. Then we set this to, it's open now. And what we are going to do this is call that delegate we created on the door interactive. Okay, so any other actor that is subscribed to this will receive this event and do whatever. That will be the shop manager. And we can also unlock the interactive. So we can use it again and we can close it. And if it's the other, if the door is open, we need to do the reverse. Okay, so yeah, we lock the interactive, we call the on door closed. We wait because in this moment probably we will wait until the customers are out. We could also have an event really. That will be the best way to do it. But yeah, okay, so we wait 10 seconds or 20, something like that, so the interactive will be locked and we can do anything. We will launch an animation to show the door close and open, and then we will set this. And last thing, that's it. But this is important. This is the most important step, which is called the event. So any other blueprint or actor will subscribe to this and do whatever it needs to do. Now we can do some logic on the shop manager, because remember we have this reference. It's already set. Important, don't forget that. So we can subscribe to those events, and from here we can do some actions on the customers. So we can check if the door interactive is valid. Always good to do this type of checks so we don't have nulls or anything strange. And now we can use the bind event on door opened. That we can subscribe to the other one on door closed, and we can create 2 new events here, so everything is not here. Like, yeah, we can have this better. We can have this cleaner. Door close it and door open it on sub. Door. We can add this handle so we know it. Right, and we can call these events here on sub door handle open, and here on sub With this ready, we can move on to the NPC customer and do some extra actions. We need to implement a few things on the NPC customer. Before we do that, we're gonna need a few extra variables here, which will be the counter location, the waiting area location, and the object to look at. So there will be 3 actors, public actors, and then we can do the references. I'm gonna do that quickly. These 3 are public. Now we can go to the fill this up. They are here. So okay, so the first one is this one. We can, as the counter location. Now the object to look at, we can use this. We will use these objects for the NPC customer. And finally, this is the waiting area, which is going to be used when the rest of the customers are around here. So we will pick a random location and send them there. Now we need to move on to the NPC customer, the C++ class, and do some actions on that. We need to add some variables and events and all of that. This is what we had before. We have this ordered status, and if you remember, we used to use this on the blueprint, on the behavior tree, to check the status of the order, and we were doing things on the blueprint based on that. Now, I'm not a fan of using integers in this way because they can be confusing. So we're gonna create 2 enumerators and some blueprints, implementable blueprints. Let's go to the definitions to declare 2 new enumerators. So this customer status is going to be what we used to do with this, but we will use an enumerator, and then the order status, instead of that, we'll have that. So this will give us a clear, we can see these instead of just numbers. It's easier to understand what's going on. Okay, this will be order status. This is gonna break things again, but that's fine because we'll fix them. And the customer status. Now we're going to use several new blueprint implementable events, so we can use them from the shop manager. These are a blueprint implementable event on go to counter, on go to waiting location, and on exit shop. These 2 will be used when we open the door of the coffee shops, and this when we close the coffee shop. Let's compile and go back to the shop manager. We can continue with this part. So when the door opens, we will send the customers to different areas. So the first one, we will send it to the go to counter. This is waiting for a counter location, which is this one, and object to look at. And then we want to send the rest of the customers to the waiting area. So for that, we can do a little delay, so they don't go all of them at the same time. Let's see, it's 4 seconds. Then so this is going to be the first customer, which will go to the counter, and then the rest from index 1 to 3, they will go to the waiting area. So there are several ways to do that. You can do that 3 times. You can do that with a for loop. Let's do that with only 2 customers, which is easier. So we can just take this, then set 1, and then go to waiting location. Okay, and then what we could do is take this waiting area location and get actor location, and then take a random position around this one. We can use this, and we just need to set the area. So I have 500, probably less is enough. This is a matter of test, and then we just need to set that and the object to look at, and we can duplicate this 2 more times or try to do a loop, up to you. And yeah, in this case there are just 3, so it's fine. I need to set here 2 and then another one, 3. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, they will go to the location. So yeah, then we can go to the on-stop close handle, which is when the door closes, and just do the reverse. So we can get this, get a copy. So let's start with the first one and say on exit shop. Then we can just do the same after a delay as well. Important, I think. You can do something like 2 seconds, something like that. Yeah. 1. Second one, and the last one. Okay, yeah, so this will handle the door. We need now to implement these events on the NPC customer, and things will change there. So let's go to that part, which is going to be just the last part of the tutorial. So we need to edit the VB basic customer, and as you can see we have some errors here. That's normal because we just changed, like this order status is not an integer anymore, and there are a few things. So let's do this cleanup. So the first thing we're going to do is come to the begin play, which is just take some references, the animator and all of that. We run the behavior tree, nothing has changed here, and inside the initialize Blackboard there's an error here. What we could do with this is just let's do a few things here. For example, here I want the initial actor location. Better that way. Okay. Nothing has changed here. Counter. Let's see. Okay, we are not gonna use any of these. Let's remove this. But we want the player. We want that. We want this, which is the start location. That's gonna be important, and we can remove all of this. We don't need the order status. We're going to do this in a different way. Okay, so next thing is we need to fix. We actually can remove any of these. We don't need this anymore. And now let's just change all of these. So all of this has errors. Let's move this and start fixing all of this. So let's start with event on go to counter, which what we'll do is get the Blackboard and then set value as object, okay, because this is going to come from here, easier that way. And we do counter here, and we need to make the literal name actor. And the object to look at, we need to go to the behavior tree and also add a few variables there to make this work. So let's go to the AI path, and also let's open this. All of this is gonna change. That's fine. So let's open the Blackboard and let's do some cleanup. So go to counter is going to be removed. Current order status as well. Okay, this is also going to be removed. We're going to change this for a vector location. Okay, and now let's add enum. This is the same enum we have on the NPC customer. And here what we need to do is to set the same name we have on the variable, so on the type, sorry, then it will show up there. We need a new one for the customer order, customer status, and same thing, we need to set the name here. Name of the type, which is that one, that's on definitions. And finally we need an object, which is object to look at, which is an actor. Okay, type actor. And that should be everything. So with this we can go back to the here, and we can set more variables. We can do another set value as object, and this is going to be the object to look at. We need a literal name with this name. And finally, we are going to make a function for update the customer status. So let's create a function here. Which is going to receive the status. So we can update the Blackboard from here. We are doing all of this to make sure we connect the basic customer with the Blackboard and the behavior tree. Okay, this is the variable we have on the C++ class, and then we can just get the a controller and then set value as enum. We can do this like this, and we need okay, then we can go back and use this function here and set the status of the customer with the same function. So let's set this to go to counter. So on go to counter is the logic prepared for when the door is open for the first customer. The rest of the customers, they're going to have similar logic. Let's do that before we go to to the Blackboard, which will be the last step. So we need to do event and go to waiting location. Okay, and we basically need to take again this, and we need to set these variables on the Blackboard. So set value as vector for this one. We also need to make literal name, and we need the same name as we have here, which is waiting location actor. Okay, see. Let's connect this, and same with object to look at. So this is basically this same thing. You can take this, copy there, use this, and this is the tag. No, sorry. This is the object, this is the target, and we can also call update customer status. This customer is going to be go to waiting area. So update, this will go to the counter, this will go to the waiting area, and finally we need two more. Event on exit shop, and this is going to be very easy. It's just going to be that, and let's say status to exit shop, and event on order completed, which is here. Let's take this one. Actually, let's remove all of this because we just changed all of that. So again, event on order completed, and we're going to set the status to exit. So all of these, basically we're going to control the NPC from the behavior tree. So we set the status here through the shop manager, and we're gonna play around with this status from the. Let's give it a quick test, see if something happens. Yeah, okay. Okay, so this task is also giving me problems because we have changed all the logic. This is not necessary anymore, so we can remove this something else from here. So we can just discard this with no problem, and then we don't really need any of this. This will be handled from the shop manager, not from the player. But we don't need this. Okay, we can move this here, and we just need to take the pins. We also don't need any of this. Just the player doesn't control this anymore, it's the shop manager. Okay, so this one should be fixed. We do the same. This is the when one of the customers is at the counter, we send the order to the player. Yeah, now we can press play. Nothing is going to work because we need to update the behavior tree. We can open and close the door. Nothing is gonna happen because the behavior tree is right now kind of a mess. So let's go there and complete this tutorial. Let's open the here we have the Blackboard. So we're basically use this order status, customer status, to handle all the behavior of the NPCs. So this is what we have before. We have some sequence or selectors to wait in the location area, and then we have some invalid elements, go to counter. So we're gonna redo all of these. So first things, we need the selector can stay, and now the first action we are going to do is we're gonna do a new sequence, which is gonna be when the customer is on standby, which is the initial status of the the customer. So we need a decorator here, which is Blackboard, and for this we need to use on value change. Then we need the customer status, and it's equal to standby, and let's just give it a wait for. So this is going to be basically the default one. Every basic customer, if we go to the default state of the customer, customer status, let's set this to standby. So that's the default status, and the order status should be none. Okay, let's go back there. So the NPC will start there. So the next one is going to be go to the waiting area, which is basically this. So we need, let's remove this node here. Let's take this one and the same, let's do self, then let's do customer status, and go to waiting area. It's going to wait location, it will move to the location, and then we can do the rotate and use the rotate to object to look at. Okay, and we are going to create a new common task for change the status of the customer. So let's create a new task, which we are going to call update customer state. Receive execute EAA. We are going to cast to BP basic customer. We're gonna get the customer status because we're gonna set this from outside. So we need a new variable, which is new state. This is gonna be customer status, and we will set this. This needs to be public so we can access from outside. And we also need to set this on the Blackboard to have everything aligned. So we can do Blackboard and set value as a node. There, we need the make literal. And we need to call it exactly the same as we have on the Blackboard tab. Okay, finally we need to finish the execution. That's important, otherwise it will get stuck. So here is no success, and let's clean this up. Okay, so we can go back to the Blackboard here and use that here. Yeah, we're gonna update this when it reaches this waiting location actor, which is going to be a random location. We change this to waiting at the waiting area, and we're gonna have a new sequence here to set the status to that. We can copy the same condition, but in this case it's going to be at waiting area, and we can just wait 1 second, so the customer will be waiting for that. With this we have standby, we have go to waiting area, and we have at waiting area. Now it should do those actions at least. Let's see. Okay, let's open the door. and they should start moving. Oh well, that's the first customer, the second, the third, and the fourth will come. So that one's go there, this one is doing weird things, so yeah, that one is doing weird things. So, but these three are the... Oh, hey, where are you going? These three are the customers, not the first one, the first, second, and the third. And now we can do something similar here for the exit. So let's do that. So we need a new sequence. This is gonna be on exit. Okay, and now let's do a move to. This is going to be to the start location. So they go back outside. We need as well a decorator again. In this case, it's going to be on exit. So as soon as we close the door, all the customers will go back. We move to that and we update the customer state to standby. So immediately when they get here, they will move to this state and wait there forever. We need a similar one to this, but in this case is to update the order status and to set that to whatever new status is. So we can just duplicate this one. Order status. And this is going to be similar, but it's just going to be the order status node. So instead of this one, let's do a customer. No. Order status. Yes. Okay. And then instead of this one, we need order status. And this we need this one. Okay, and that should be enough. So we can use that on the Behaviour tree here. Let's set this to none, so there is nothing. This will do nothing here, so we don't have any random states. And finally, we need to clean all of this up. We're not going to destroy everything, just to redo a few bits here. Okay, this sequence is when we order the NPC to go to counter and wait for their order. So instead of this, we need on value change, we need order status. No, customer status is going to be go to counter. And from here, we're gonna just link this one because we need to clean this up. So let's move all of this down. We can keep this one because that one is we check if the counter shop actor is there. So we need a new sequence. And now is when we can check the order status, not the customer status, but the order status. New sequence here for that, for the first status, which is none. And we need a decorator to set to check the the order status, which is order status when is known. Okay, we can do a new sequence and order the customer to go to the walk to the counter. And then we will do a move to the CoffeeShop Actor. Then we can use the rotate and then use the object to look at. Okay, now we're going to do a second sequence, which is this is send to the player, which basically it was here, so we can just take these two, we send the current order, and now we can update the order status to waiting order. Bye. So when we change this, it will move on from here, and we can do a little wait just to be sure. Okay. Now here, we can start moving. We don't need this. Okay, here is when we wait for. We're gonna be here stuck in this sequence using a decorator, which is a conditional loop, because we're gonna wait here until the order status is equal to waiting order, so it will stay there until that changes. We can do here play animation, whatever you want to do. I'm just gonna do this receive hit and await for 2 seconds, so it will do this loop over and over again. Finally, the last thing we need to do is the last state, which is order completed. So we need a new sequence, we need the same decorator here, but in this case it's going to be order completed. So we can play a new animation, the victory one, for example. Yeah, then wait a few seconds and send them to exit. Exits up, so it will just go straight to this node and it will go to the start location. Pretty much that's it. So one of the things we need to make sure is we have this type of priorities set correctly, otherwise it won't work. So this should be solved. This one is set, value change, nothing changed here. This one, it will abort the lower priorities because as soon as we send this event, we want to all of these to just be like discarded and go straight away to this one. Let's set this to the same one in case we change this to standby. Okay, so we can remove all of this, and if everything is set correctly, it should work. Let's see. So we have the customer here, player. We open the door, we wait, Okay, first customer is going. The second and the third and the fourth will go soon. This one is here. Last one. And now, for some reason, let's close the door and see what happens. Yeah. Yeah, the door is closed and no one can enter. There seems to be a little bug with the first customer. I will check that and make sure all of this is working. And that's the final of this tutorial, and I'm going to close this series because I want to move on to something else. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and like, subscribe, it helps a lot. See you on the next tutorial. Bye!